All right, hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we have another guest. We have a special guest with us. We have Nclex Navigator with us, and she's going to introduce herself. So in this video, we're going to talk about the Nclex. It has been a huge what would you say now? A lot of persons have been concerned and asking about the Nclex, how to go about it. How do you take the Nclex on your own, or do you take the Nclex with an agency? How do you do it? So here with us, we have one of our own, a Jamaican nurse who has her own business where she calls it Nclex Navigator, and we're super proud of her, and we're highlighting her this evening in our video. So stay tuned and remember to like, follow, and subscribe at Empowered RN. Nclex Navigator is also on TikTok, right?
That's
TikTok,
right.
Nclex Navigator. You're on Instagram.
Yes, I am. Nclex Navigator
Instagram
as well.
also interested in taking the Nclex and want to use her services, you can follow her on all social media. So I know I know your other name, but I'm going to call it Nclex Navigator in this. So I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into the video.
All right. So, hi, my name is Abigail Nelson. I'm a registered nurse in Jamaica, and I'm also a registered nurse in America. So, I took Nclex on my own last year, and I have been offering the service. I currently work as a school nurse in Jamaica, which I love dearly. You should try it. And that's one of the avenues that allowed me the opportunity to study for my Nclex and also pass on my first try. Our business offer the services like to all the services that you need in order to sit the NCLEX. So that's basically me in a nutshell. I love nursing. I hope I love it when I get there, but I love it now. I do.
Nice. Before we go any further, I heard your first name. I thought it was just your nickname, Abigail.
Yes, and I
So we're
realize you're Abigail.
Abigail, so we're
Yes.
namesakes. All
Yes.
right. So nice to have you here. And I'm super proud of you in the business that you have started. I love to see when nurses are stepping out and creating businesses. And before we go any further, we're going to talk about the NCLEX. We know that the NCLEX is an exam that every nurse has to take before they matriculate to the US. And the NCLEX is a licensure exam similar to what we take in Jamaica. What it's called again?
R&R.
The RNR. So this is the
That's right.
exam that will get your license and your license number for you to practice in the United States. And I want people to know also that once you take the NCLEX, you can practice in the US, Canada, and Australia. So
That's
all you
right.
need to do is go through the boards of nursing and get registered after you have taken the NCLEX. So every single nurse that you see that leaves Jamaica or any Caribbean country, any African country, European country, they have to take the NCLEX. One thing though is that because we don't have the Pearson View centers in Jamaica,
Mhm.
I think one is located in the Caribbean.
Only you have I know there's one, the places I know that you can do it in England, you can do it in Canada, you can do it in Mexico and Brazil, I believe.
Right. So Brazil is the only country I think near to us that's within like South America in the near to the Caribbean basin that has the centers where you can take the NCLEX, but you have
but
to. Mhm.
but you know what you can do for the persons who are without a US visa, what I've been recommending to my clients is that they apply for the visa, and their purpose of travel would have been to take the NCLEX. And so far all of my clients who have done that have been successful in getting their visa
Wow.
because they bring their authorization to test to the
Okay.
appointment, and they would have put that information there, so they actually have proof of really going there to sit the NCLEX.
Exam. So I know once you're doing with the agency, we didn't get any letters or anything to get the visa. They'll just say go and apply. I know persons just normally apply from before to get their visa with agency and they normally success. But I've never heard of that route, but that's a good route. And I think especially when you're working in Jamaica, I've never heard of nurses being denied. I don't know if you have heard.
I've seen a few of them.
Oh, being denied.
Mhm.
So I want you to take us through the process. I know you did the NCLEX on your own. So you're certified to work as a nurse in Jamaica and also certified in the United States. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
NCLEX Navigator to the NCLEX on her own without an agency. Just to give a little information to those that are listening. So the nurses, when they're ready to take the exam, they can either take it on their own with no assistance, or you can take it through an agency, and the agency is your sponsor. So that's a company that is giving you the opportunity to come to the United States. So I think I'm going to go first with the agency, and I allow you to talk about
Sure.
doing it on your own.
Sure.
Or I'll let you go first. I want you to go first. Go first.
Okay, sure, no problem. So doing it on your own. The first step would be to ensure that you have a bachelor's degree
Mm-hmm.
in nursing. I currently have a client though who I use with an associate, and CGFNS actually approved her information for her to go ahead and go ahead and send it to the board. So associate as well, but I wanted to see her through to the NCLEX before I actually
Right.
promote it to ensure that it's fine. So first you'd have to start with the bachelor's. You don't need a license in Jamaica in order to sit the exam. So
Repeat that.
I
Please
did
repeat that, because a lot of nurses
you
don't know that.
True, you don't need a license in Jamaica. You don't need to pass RNR in Jamaica to sit Nclex in America or wherever you go sit the Nclex. So I submitted my transcript. I made a profile with CGFNS. After I paid them, they populate some documents for you to drop off. One for nursing council, because some nurses still don't believe that you don't need a license, so they still want to pay nursing council to send
Mhm.
off, which I do allow them to, and one for your university, whether it be UWE, UTech, Sigma, wherever, NCU, and you drop those off, and then after they would send it to CGFNS, and CGFNS would evaluate your credentials to ensure, okay, this education is up to par with that of the United States. Then they would send off the report to whichever board you would have chosen. So if you choose North Carolina like I did, they would send your report to North Carolina. Then you would make your application with North Carolina Board of Nursing, and then they will tell you what else you need. For North Carolina, you need the IELTS exam.
Mhm.
So you need to send the IELTS result to
All right.
them.
Can you tell us what is the IELTS exam?
All right, so the IELTS exam is an English exam that you do to prove that you know how to communicate in English. For some state boards, they'll tell you don't need to do this. One of those state boards are like Florida, Ohio. Those two state boards will tell you don't need to do the IELTS exam for them. But I was having some issues with um nursing council sending off my license, of course. I
Mhm.
waited over 70 days and they sent the incorrect thing. So I had to just find a workaround. So I used North Carolina and I was willing to do the IELTS exam. For me, for a lot of persons, they don't like doing exams. So they don't want to do the IELTS, so they don't want to use North Carolina. But you can use Ohio.
Okay.
Pros and cons to using both boards. So send the IELTS exam. When I go to do the IELTS exam, there's a speaking section, a listening section, a writing section, and a reading section. The major problem with the IELTS exam is the time frame. It's not a hard exam because you speak English.
Right.
When you go to the reading section, you're going to read a paragraph, answer the questions based on what you've read in the paragraph. Listening, you
Mhm.
listen to a conversation on the phone, you answer the questions based on the conversation you're hearing on the phone. The writing section, they'll give you a topic to write 150 words on the topic, and they'll give you a bar graph to just speak about the graph in 200 words. So
Mhm.
that's about it. And the speaking section would just be like this. We're speaking to someone over the computer. They're going to ask you some random questions. This exam is not a factual exam, it's just an exam to see if you understand what I'm saying to you and you can respond. This exam
Mhm.
should be for persons who speak Spanish as a first language because they want to ensure that there's no communication barrier. But that's about it for the IELTS exam. Some persons are afraid, and you have persons who do not get the required grade. But if
Mhm.
you're doing it for immigration purposes, they mainly focus on the speaking section because, of course, they want to ensure you can speak. And usually, no Jamaicans fail the speaking section because
Right.
you speak English. So,
Question
yes,
though, where you can take the IELTS exam is still over UAE that you can take it.
you can take it at U and you can take it at Overseas Examination Commission. That's at the road right above Micro University.
Right. See. Mhm.
Yes, you can take it there as well. So for North Carolina, I had to submit my IELTS, my CES report from CGFNS, and they went ahead and told me that I was eligible to test. So in order to get your authorization, your board makes you eligible, but you need to get an authorization to test from Pearson VUE. So you'd pay that $200 and have them give you the authorization to test. For some boards, it's longer, but for North Carolina, I got the authorization to test within a day or two. It was about 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
And then I was able to set my exam date. So it sounds pretty short
Yeah.
and quick, but while I was doing it, CGFNS had a lot of backlog at that time. So it took a little time, but now I realize that backlog is somewhat cleared because I have persons who started their process in January, and by the end of February, I was able to set their date for Nclex. So it's
Okay.
going very fast now.
Mm-hmm. So after you get your authorization number to test, then you then sign up for the Nclex at a center that you choose.
Yes. So what I do is I ask my clients to give me the address for what they're staying, or for me, I put in the address for the person I was staying with, and then I found a testing center that was really close to that address, and I just used that center.
Okay. All right. So question I wanted to ask. So I know I made a video on TikTok to talking about some best nursing boards. So I want to ask you too, because I think, and the reason why we say best nursing boards to use, because these boards make it a lot easier for international nurses to
Definitely.
sign on, and the transition is much easier. And I saw this with the agencies too. They normally send everybody to specific nursing boards. So based on your experience of doing this, yes, I heard you speak a lot about North Carolina. So I guess one of those are the best nursing boards. Any other boards?
Ohio. I've been
Ohio.
recently using Ohio. It's the application fee is way cheaper. I think $70 or $75. And they ask you for a fingerprint, but their fingerprinting process is for $47. And they also provide you with a license. So,
Okay.
and the pro is they don't require IELTS and you don't have to submit your license. So you just need to submit your degree, your transcript rather, to them and your fingerprint, and you're good to go. And what I recommend, for it to be really quick, at the same time you're sending off your transcript to CGFNS, go ahead and do your fingerprints for Ohio, because they'll take about 2 or 3 weeks. So you want to ensure that everything can be done in that time frame.
Okay. What about, I know I made the video and I spoke about Texas, New York, Illinois, don't remember some others, but those are some three. Have you had experiences with them also?
I've had experience with New York. One of my no for New York is the fact that I can't call them. They want you to use a contact us form. I want to call you right now and say, I'm having an issue with this. How can I have it fixed? And even now dealing with clients, persons can be very impatient. They don't want to wait until somebody writes you back. They want to
Right.
know, how do I get this fixed right now? So I want to be able to call you should it be an issue that is new to me. And also you have to do 2 courses for New York. Some
Oh,
persons
yeah.
want to avoid the 2 courses. They are simple courses, child abuse, and there's another course. I have the notes for those as well. But because of that, because of the communication thing with New York, it takes a longer time. And what I realized, Jamaicans love Florida, New York. They want to do Florida, New York. There's so many other states, Florida, New York.
That's
So
where we
you know what?
settle. That's where we settle to live. So
Yes, Florida, New York.
yeah. All right. Other question I want to ask. I'm gonna ask some other question, but after you get the authorization number, you set them up for the and you have to pay something, right? To use the send. You have to pay a fee to take the Nclex apart from the
Only
authorization
if
number.
after you've paid Pearson the $200 to get your authorization. If you're sitting the exam in the US, you do not pay an additional fee. However, if you're sitting the exam in Canada, you'll have to pay an international fee of $159. For if you're doing it in England, it's $150, and this is US dollars. To do it in Mexico, it's $145.
Okay. The other question that I wanted to ask, it just slipped me a while ago. When they're getting their results, it goes directly to them, or would it come to you?
No, so when I create their portal, for instance, like Pearson VUE, I provide them with the login, so they're able to follow their progress. So should they want to log in and just see, they can. But when they do the Nclex, you have a quick result that costs $7.99. You pay that $7.99, you're able to see your result in 24 to 48 hours. They can see it on that. For North Carolina, you will see if you've passed on their website. And for states like Ohio, if you use a state like Ohio, even Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's paper application, you can use it and you'll get your license. So you use nurses and you type your name in and you see that you're a registered nurse in America.
Okay. I love the process and I like that you started something like this. Very lucrative, I must say. Just to do a comparison now with the agency. So with the agency will do everything for you. You won't know which nursing board you're going through until you get your temporary license. So they provide us with study resources. First, you send them your documents. You still have to go through nursing council to get all of that, and they do everything for us. And they'll just say to us, then send us. I don't think we even get the authorization to test number. They just send us, hey, this is your test date, and I think based on your agency, you can schedule the days when you're ready to take the exam, but it must be in a certain time frame. And they pay for your flights. So they cover everything. So all the money that you would pay on your own, they cover everything, but just know you're going to pay them back when you start working. So they cover everything in terms of flight arrangements, and then they put you up in an hotel. Now, depending on where your license is going to be, I think it depends on the state that you're going to. They will place it to take the exam in that center. Some of the centers that we have gone, I took my exam in Florida. I've heard a lot of persons took it in Florida and a lot of persons took it in New Mexico also. So after we take the exam, we go, I think we take so say today, tomorrow is the exam, so we leave today and then take the exam the following day and then leave the following day. So practically just 3 days. By the time you're finished, you just go to the center, show your ID, do the exam, you come back home within, I think 24 to 48 hours, you'll get an email to say whether you've passed the Nclex or not, and then you get your certificate, and that's it. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you though, what study resources did you utilize seeing that you did not go with an agency? Because with the agency, they provided us with a package and they sent books, video materials, everything. And they had an online course that we had to follow until we were ready. And then we had to take exams throughout, and every exam that you took, you had to pass until you're qualified to take the Nclex.
Oh, so for me, I used Archer. Archer has a study plan for 3 months. It's 109 US dollars, and you get a Q bank with 2,000 plus questions. You get notes, you get some videos, and you have some live pre-recorded sessions there. And I used Mark K's lectures,
Right.
especially lecture 12. That was my favorite lecture because it teaches you about prioritization, and a lot of questions on Nclex really test your prioritization knowledge.
Right. And like you said, you get the pre-recorded videos and you get a time frame. That is very good. And I think Kaplan, I think probably the agency structured it because they had an academy, so they structured it in that way. But we utilize the Kaplan. And I encourage persons, if you're taking the NCLEX, do not use one resource. Use has many resources because one may be so hard. For me, I think the Kaplan is very hard. I even reached out to the agency, the head, and said, listen, why are we using Kaplan? Because when I went on UWorld was so good and other things. So they were basically saying that Kaplan is so hard. It's harder than the Nclex. So if you can maximize Kaplan, you can maximize everything. Mark K was very good too. I love those lectures. And I also utilize some free resources on YouTube. I've heard about Archer too, that Archer is very good. But if nurses are listening and you want to take the NCLEX, use as many resources as possible. And you use UWorld too?
I had access to URL at the time, but after I did a few URL questions, I was like, this not gonna work for me. So I did Archer. One of what I did though with Archer, some of Archer's videos were long, 3 hours long. So I tried to watch it, but sometimes I would fall in between. So what I tried to do was, like in the mornings, I would wake up like half an hour earlier and watch half hour the video there. During the days, I watch 15 to break it down. And also because Archer gives you a timetable to cover everything they say you need for the NCLEX. For instance, I had a topic that the video was very long. I would go
Mhm.
to Simple Nursing and just
Right.
watch a video for the topic there because
Mhm.
that would help me somewhat.
Okay. Yeah, I use simplenursing.com too. So a couple questions that I had in terms of when you were talking about the Nclex and doing it on your own. So we see the comparison there. One covers everything for you, but you're gonna pay them back. And then if you do it on your own out of pocket, I don't think it is that expensive still. But if you want to do it on your own, I think you give yourself a lot more room for opportunities, for choices in
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do, where you want to go. Now, you may mention that you don't need a license and you don't need to be, what is it, practicing, but you just need a bachelor's to take the NCLEX.
That's right. That's right.
I thought you'd need your license.
No, because for me personally, how I found this out was, remember, initially I was trying to use Florida because I said Jamaicans, Florida, New York. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to use Florida, but Florida required my license
Oh.
verification. So that was an issue. So after putting Florida there and paying nursing council, so initially I was excited, like, okay, I just gonna pay nursing council to send off the license. I
Mm-hmm.
was there for like probably 70 days. I had some issues. It wasn't being sent. Nursing council said their machine was down, and they told me that I would need to wait like 21 days. 21 days passed, and every time I called, it was a different story. So I was kind of frustrated. I called CGFNS and they said they'll have to put my application on pause because
Mm-hmm.
right now they can't assist me if they can't get my license. When Nursing Council finally sent them a document to state that I was a registered nurse in Jamaica, the
Mm-hmm.
document, the seal and the stamp was not coinciding, and
Jesus.
Nursing Council refused to correct that error at the time. So I was, a little back and forth with them to correct it. And
Mm-hmm.
then CGFNS suggested to me that, go ahead and use a board that doesn't require a license. That's when I learned of, how to do that. And eventually I got this rep from Nursing Council. So nice. So nice. She was like, she's sorry about that, It's she was explaining what was happening and it wasn't a fault on her end, and she tried
Mm-hmm.
to rectify. She was so nice. And but at that time I already got an alternative, and that's when I learned of the alternative. So I switched from Florida to North Carolina because North Carolina did not require my license, and they just waived it because they weren't getting the seal and the stamp to coincide.
Mm-hmm.
After they waived it, Nursing Council came through, I guess based on the rep, but
Right.
at that time I never really need it. And then send it off to North Carolina. So my report went to North Carolina without a license. So after that, now I started to research which boards do not need your license. And that's
Mm-hmm.
when I learned of, the boards like Ohio, North Carolina, and a few others, like I believe Pennsylvania.
Mm.
Yeah, but I mainly use Ohio and North Carolina.
So I am appreciating that you're sharing this, and I hope nurses listening, because this is a light bulb for my nurses back home in Jamaica who may have taken the RENR exam and have failed it. So if
Yes.
you fail the exam,
Especially
and I,
those
yeah, you
especially
can
those who have gone there three chances or on the
three
fourth.
chances. So,
Yes.
I have friends who did it three times and didn't stand a chance to practice nursing in Jamaica. So, this is a light bulb for you guys that if you fail the exam in Jamaica, and that's another point that we touched on that I'm going to speak about, you can take your NCLEX examination because you already have your Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing. And I saw a nurse that was online talking about, I don't know if you saw that young lady. She also took her exam, failed it, and after 10 years decided to go back to take it, but went for the NCLEX and passed it on the first try. So my
Yeah.
nurses that are out there who have their three chance, even if you take it one time and you didn't think you get and you didn't get through, try and take the NCLEX. And the young nurses too, what I always tell them, you see that bulk of information when you graduate from school, just try and take the NCLEX same time. I think it does help. Now, in Jamaica, we only can take our license exam three times, and then you
No,
have
there's
no.
a fourth try now.
You have four try now?
Yeah, there's a fourth try recently
Okay.
implemented. Yeah,
Okay, that's lovely. But in the United States, you can take the Nclex as many times as possible. I saw somebody took it on the seventh try, and that lady has her PhD in nursing now. So I wish Jamaica would ultimately reach that level, because to go to school for 4 years, plug in student loan, and then when you come out, you cannot practice in the profession on your third try. Come on. I think if
it's a
they're
slap.
smart and you want to make money, allow the nurses to take it over and over, because that's money when they take it, right?
And the thing about it for the US, I mean, you have to wait 45 days
Mm-hmm.
before you can take it again. But that's a good win, because I mean that's
Yeah.
about 8 times for the year you can take the
Mm-hmm.
NCLEX.
Yeah. So I wish Jamaica can open up for that one. With regards to the CGFNS, right? So the CGFNS is that the body that really verifies that your education from any country outside of the US, with regards, and it's for various professions that are international, right? So they're
Yeah.
verifying to make sure that, for instance, if the nurse is coming from any Caribbean country, anywhere in the world, that it's similar to the what they teach in the United States. And I've heard persons say that you may not need the CGFNS, you don't have to use them. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true, but it's for boards like New York. You can apply directly to New York without CGFNS. And even for New York, I've been talking about CES report. For New York, you have to do a CVS. So when you go to your CGFNS card, be sure to select the correct
Mhm.
report, because there is CES report and there is CVS report.
Right. So there are
Yeah,
certain boards that you can go without CGFNS, right?
that's right.
But will it affect them in terms of the visa screen? Because I know CGFNS will normally issue that.
That's the thing now. So when you do that, you have to go back to do all of that to get your visa screen. So
Yeah.
sometimes persons try to go the cheaper route, but it carries you right back around.
Yeah. And for the IELTS exam, is there a particular score? Because I think you have to score a particular number in order to pass. I think it was a 2.0, or I don't remember.
No, for IELTS, it depends. For North Carolina, though, for each module, you have to get at least 6.0 in them and an
Mm-hmm.
overall of 6.5. But
Mm-hmm.
for immigration purposes, because some persons need the IELTS for their immigration purposes, especially when it comes on to your I-140, for it to be filed on a premium, you would
Mm-hmm.
require an English exam. I don't think it's the IELTS alone, but I did
Mm-hmm.
my IELTS.
Okay.
um they have this seven, I think they have a 7.5 for a specific, I think it should be like speaking, but I don't want to misquote, but they have a grade there for that. But I know for North Carolina the grade is 6.0 in each module and at least a 6.5 in the overall.
Okay. All right. So the other question I wanted to ask though, since you have taken the exam on your own, do you think you would have taken it on with an agency, or you think you made the right choice and give yourself like more options?
I definitely made the right choice. I would never have it any other way. I made the right choice. I mean, after I did it, I got the agencies who did not want me wanted me. They
Okay.
didn't want me before, but they wanted me now
Yes.
after I did it. Because what I did, I did an Indeed profile and I put up that I had my Nclex, and I got a lot of persons reaching out to me. And I got a text now number, which I had put up for my US number, so I get calls from there on a regular,
Mhm.
because I'm registered there. But what I realized, you get to go in these interviews and handle them like I'm offering you something. No,
Yes.
what do you have to give me? Because I paid for my NCLEX. What can you do for me that I can't do for myself? No. Because if I did an interview with an agency after I passed my NCLEX, and they were like, oh, I cut out bonuses because we increased the pay. The pay increase was crazy. I was like, no. So after having the conversation, I remember the rep said to me, I didn't like how you did your interview because, I said, you don't like how I did my interview because I did not accept your offer. I did not, and I can't speak like that because I have my NCLEX.
Right. Girl, you're smart. You are smart. So I want people to hear that you put your resume on Indeed where these recruiters and these companies are, and they actually
Mm-hmm.
look for persons for their business. So now when you go into an interview, you actually can negotiate, determine the pay you want, what you're looking for, and you can basically negotiate on your terms of agreement, bonuses, everything. So the probably
Definitely.
is in your hand.
And you tell them where you want to go.
Yes.
Some of these agencies, what I get to realize is they tell you that, okay, we're gonna be putting you here, and
Mhm.
this is what we have and whatever. But for me, I was able to tell them, this is where I want to go, and if you can't take me there, then I can't go with you. And
Yeah, you have
that's what
to.
you get when you have your NCLEX, because I can
Yeah.
negotiate.
Yes, I'm super, super proud of you and that move that you made. And I wish all the other nurses that are probably listening here, leaving school, will think about this option to negotiate and also utilize your services.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So, last question that I want to ask: what difference have you noted when you took the NCLEX that was different in terms of from the RNR compared to the NCLEX?
For the RNR compared to the NCLEX, I think RNR and NCLEX tested how safe of a nurse I was,
Mm-hmm.
because the questions they were close, but it would have been a case where, am I a safe nurse, to show that I know that this patient needs me more than this patient needs me at a specific time. Because a lot of the questions they asked were like, what would you do with this patient, who would you assign to this patient? So that's what I realized. With RNR, I don't even I failed RNR the first time, by 2 points.
Oh,
With R, and I passed Nclex on my first try. I was like so
see?
surprised. Right. With RNR, I don't even know. I feel like I was just confused. RNR was just asking me a lot of questions, and the questions were so long. When I finished reading my RNR question, at the end of the question, I was like, "What did they ask me? Let me do this again." But I don't think they tested the same thing. It
Mm-hmm.
was more priority and understanding. RNR were more specific questions to like medications and
Right.
certain things. It gave me like somewhat, but that was the difference. I think NCLEX more focus on priority to ensure that I
Mm-hmm.
can save this patient's life.
Right. I think somewhat similar to, and I think for me it was just knowledge based. Some critical thinking was there too, but a lot of knowledge. But with them already the leadership aspect also. So one last question before we move into your business is what advice would you give to a nurse who is back home from any other country that is contemplating probably to take the NCLEX on their own?
Don't try to save all the money at once, because you'll keep using it. If you're trying to do NCLEX on your own, start the process right away. Every time you say you'll start next month, something else will come up next month. If you think Nclex is what will change your life or get you to the life you so desire, you have to put that foot forward. Because yes, there is a pay increase in Jamaica, but there's also a cost of living increase in Jamaica as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of persons still complain. But what you need to do is start your process. And even though I encourage persons to do it independently, if you see that an agency is what works best for you, then don't try to do it independent. Because if you don't have that money to do it, you'll just keep wasting time, when maybe you could have used an agency. Even though I tell you, like, you have a more bargaining trip, but getting there is what is your priority. Get there.
Right.
Because I remember Tash said every lock has a key, and you can open that lock. So even though you're gonna sign a contract, pray about it. Go in the
Right.
contract, get to the US, be the nurse you need to be, and then you're able to take yourself out of the situation that you are in Jamaica. And just keep going, because what I realize is persons trying to get the all of the money, and
Mm-hmm.
the narrative is that Nclex is expensive. It is, but once you pay for it, little, it can work.
Yeah.
It can work.
Some good advice there. I really like that. Also, too, so you're an Nclex navigator. You have a business with this. You did it on your own, and have a business to help other nurses. And I'm happy for that because many persons just are out there. We don't know where to go, who to go to, all of that. So, Nclex navigator, where can we find you if we want to use you to assist us to help us to take the Nclex?
All right, so you can find me on TikTok, Nclex_navigator. However, my page on TikTok is disabled, so I cannot receive messages. So you can find me on Instagram at Nclex Navigator, the same
Mhm.
name, or you can message me on WhatsApp at 876-591-5435. We have other business numbers on our page, 876-497-3131. You can WhatsApp any one of those numbers, and once you send us a message, we'll respond. One of the things is we don't only do Jamaican nurses. So I have nurses from Bermuda. I have nurses from Trinidad and Tobago. Caribbean nurses. I have nurses from St. Vincent who are interested in leaving. So we do nurses from the Caribbean. Once you have a degree, or even if it's not a bachelor's of science degree, it can be an associate as well.
Mhm.
Once you have the information to provide to us, then we do you. But you can find us on those socials.
All right. Thank you so much. And what I'm gonna do, we're gonna all of our information, all of your information, I'm gonna put them in the description box. So your number, social media handles, so everybody can find you. All right. Super proud of
Yes.
your business and everything. While I'm here, I'm just sitting and saying you need to go to like the school, them, the health fair, them, and when them have them expo, you have your table, everything. Very
Yes.
good business, and I hope you'll be successful in it. And I'm happy that you made a move like this on your own. I know you're helping other people. So go over to her social media handles and follow, subscribe for more information and utilize her services. All right, I want to thank Nclex Navigator for coming online and sharing the information with us.
Yes. And
Thank you.
also, I work alongside a colleague. Her name is Adriana. So
Mhm.
from time to time, if it's not Abby, it's Adriana. So you can, if you message and somebody's talking to you and they say they're Adriana, it's the right page. Don't worry, it's two of
Okay.
us.
All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment that we had with Nclex Navigator. If you have any information, any questions, you can drop them in the comment section. We'll respond to them. And if you have a question directed to Nclex Navigator, we'll let her get the information and leave your WhatsApp number below. I hope you were
Yes.
inspired by this video. To those out there, to the RNR and don't know what's next for you, there are opportunities out there if you took it and you did not pass it. And to those who are just hesitant to take the NCLEX on their own, here you have your own from Jamaica or any other Caribbean country all over the world who is assisting you with this process. So we're grateful for having you here. Thank you guys so much. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. And if you like the content and you want to see more, please remember to subscribe again, like, and comment. Thank you.
You're welcome.